the keeper of the moonlit garden. Once upon a time, in a realm where the stars whispered secrets and the moon painted dreams, there existed a garden unlike any other. This was the moonlit garden, hidden away in the folds of the world, accessible only by those who could hear the subtle song of the night. Here, I will tell you the tale of Alara, the keeper of this mystical garden, in a story woven to lull you into the softest of slumbers. Chapter 1. The Whisper of Beginnings. Alara was not born in the usual sense. She emerged from a moonbeam that kissed the earth during the first full moon of spring, cradled by the dew of the night. Her hair was the color of midnight, with eyes that shimmered like the first star in the evening sky. From the moment she opened her eyes, she understood her purpose without being told. She was to be the guardian of the moonlit garden. The garden itself was a marvel, with flowers that glowed with their own light, casting a serene luminescence over the pathways. Trees whispered ancient tales, and the water in the ponds reflected not just the sky but also the dreams of those who looked upon it. Creatures of twilight roamed freely, their forms blending with the shadows, their eyes twinkling with curiosity. Alara's days, or rather her nights, were spent tending to this ethereal place. She sang to the plants, her voice a melody that encouraged them to bloom not just in beauty but in magic. Each blossom had its own story, each leaf a symbol of life's continuity. Under her care, the garden thrived, becoming a sanctuary for lost souls and weary travelers, a place where one could forget the weight of the world. Chapter 2. The Visitor from the Day. One evening, as the moon rose to its zenith, casting a silver glow over the garden, Alara heard a sound unfamiliar to her domain. It was the rustling of leaves, not in tune with the night's natural symphony. Curious and a tad cautious, she followed the sound to find a young man, his clothing tattered and his eyes weary with the trials of daylight. His name was Theo, a wanderer of the sunlit realms, who had stumbled upon a hidden path during his travels, guided by an urge he could not explain. Seeing Alara, he was initially startled, for her presence was as much a part of the garden as the ethereal flowers. "I seek refuge," Theo said, his voice hoarse from many days of silence. Alara, sensing the depth of his need for rest, welcomed him with a gentle smile. "You have found it," she replied. She led him through the garden, where the soft light began to ease the lines of worry from his face. Chapter 3. The Healing of the Night. Under Alara's guidance, Theo learned the ways of the garden. He was taught to listen to the flowers, to understand the silent language of the night. Each night, they would walk, and he would tell her stories of the world beyond, of cities where light never dimmed, and of people who had forgotten the stars. In return, Alara showed him how to heal. There was a pond at the garden's heart, its surface a mirror to the soul. Those who drank from it left behind their burdens, their fears, their pain, which then dissolved into the water, becoming part of the garden's eternal cycle of renewal. Theo's stay lengthened from days into weeks into months. His once troubled eyes now reflected the tranquility of his surroundings. The garden had mended more than just his physical weariness. It had begun to heal his spirit. Chapter 4. The Dance of the Night Creatures. One particularly enchanting night, Alara introduced Theo to the dance of the night creatures. Creatures of all forms, from the tiny fireflies to the majestic night deer, gathered around. Their dance was not just movement but a celebration of life, a ritual that bound them to the garden and to each other. Theo watched, enchanted, as Alara joined the dance, her steps light as if she floated. The magic of the garden seemed to manifest through her, and Theo felt an inexplicable joy, a peace that had eluded him for years. Chapter 5. The Dawn of Understanding. However, all tales have their turning points. As Theo's stay extended, he began to feel the pull of his old life, the responsibilities he had left behind, now calling to him with a newfound urgency. He spoke of this to Alara, his heart heavy with the decision before him. Alara, understanding the cycle of life and the necessity of departure, prepared him for his journey back. She gifted him a moonflower, a bloom that would glow even in the harshest daylight, a reminder of his time in the garden. When you feel lost or weary, look upon this flower and remember the peace of the moonlit garden, she said. Chapter 6. The Farewell and the Promise. The night of Theo's departure was one of quiet sadness. The creatures of the garden gathered, not in dance, but in silent farewell. Theo promised to return, if not in body, then in spirit, for the garden had become a part of him. Alara watched as Theo stepped back into the world of daylight, the path closing behind him like a gentle curtain drawn over a peaceful scene. She knew that his heart would always hold a fragment of the night, just as the garden now held a piece of his. Epilogue, the eternal cycle. And so, Theo left, but the garden remained, ever-changing yet eternal. Alara continued her guardianship, singing to the plants, whispering with the trees, always ready for the next soul needing the sanctuary of the night. The moonlit garden thrived, a testament to the magic of peace, healing, and the gentle embrace of the night. As you drift into sleep, imagine the soft glow of the garden's blooms, the lullaby of the night creatures, and the serene face of Alara, keeper of a place where all are welcome to rest, to heal, to dream. Here, in the folds of night, every weary soul finds its respite, every heart its peace. Sleep now, and let the moonlit garden guide you into dreams where all is well, and all are safe.